Howdy.
Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm good. How was your walk?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah?
Great.
That's good.
Got out here a little earlier today because it was cooler, so
Yeah?
trying to get out here earlier.
It's smart to come early and get it done with, before it gets too hot.
Yeah.
I have some ice water here. Can I offer you one?
No, I just finished my water. I got some in the truck.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna stretch out.
Are you with somebody right now? I didn't see you come
wife.
up. Oh, okay. She's doing a bathroom break.
Yeah. What you up to?
I'm interviewing strangers for 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
We pick a belief that you're sure is true, and I ask questions to figure out how you could be so sure.
Oh, that sounds pretty interesting.
It is, yeah. People usually will they tend to pick supernatural stuff, so they think a ghost exists or karma is real.
Oh, I don't believe in that.
A lot of people will pick that they think a God exists, or they pray to a God, there's a God watching out for them, or they experienced a miracle. It doesn't really matter what belief you choose, but when it's a profound one that impacts your behavior even, you find that you're actually behaving differently because you think that this thing is true.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the interesting talks. And I just time it for 5 minutes. You want to do a short little fiver?
Yeah, I got 5 minutes.
Cool. I'm Anthony.
And James.
James, nice to meet you. All right.
So you doing this for school, college?
I call it a hobby. Where did my marker go? I think I dropped it. I've been doing it it's a hobby that I've been doing for about 5 years. I'm going to work without a net. I don't have my marker handy. It's pretty interesting. No, it's something called street epistemology.
Say that again?
Street epistemology.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard of it?
No, but
Okay.
I'll probably look it up.
Yeah, Google it. It's really interesting. It's a very Socratic dialogue that helps people contemplate how they formed these beliefs and did they use a reliable method.
I think most beliefs are just my beliefs. I guess is just formed by my parents or my mother. Like you was talking about God. That's just how you was raised. If someone wasn't raised in that, I can see. Now I graduated from a Baptist university, so I can see how people that don't believe in God, we just use that example today. They don't believe in God. Maybe they haven't been introduced to that, and they don't have that strong belief. They may not have never experienced that. I know I got some good buddies that are Jehovah's Witnesses. Their belief is not everybody has been in the world and on earth today has been introduced to God. That's what their belief is.
Okay.
I've attended a lot of their meetings. I'm not a Jehovah's Witness, but I attend a lot of their meetings, and my good best friend is Jehovah. We talk a lot. But see, I grew up Baptist, and if we
do you mind if I record this by any chance?
No.
Okay, thank you.
If we use God as an example today, I think that you get that from where it was introduced to you.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying some people hasn't been introduced, some people have.
So let me ask you, is the whole reason why you think the God exists is because you were taught it?
I think so. I think so. I don't think there's any one event or thing that could draw me to that conclusion other than my beliefs that was instilled in me and my education that I have. This is my wife, Barbara.
Howdy, I'm Anthony.
He's doing
Pleasure to meet you.
We're just doing a little talking.
Yeah, I have this hobby. It's 5 minutes, and we pick a belief. And I ask questions to see how you can be so sure. And the belief that we're picking here with James is, well, I think why do you think a God exists? And I think what you're saying is that it was taught to you as a kid.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this: if it wasn't taught to you as a kid, would you be believing in it today?
Not sure, because I don't know if my life direction would be changed because I don't have that belief, or it wasn't instilled in me. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
If I never was introduced that there was a God, I may not ever believe that there's a God. That doesn't mean, of course, there's people in the world that don't believe, and then there's people in the world that do believe. But if I wasn't introduced to God, maybe throughout my life, I would never have that belief. But once you introduce something to you, and God has this, I'm going to say God because the belief I have, He gives you freedom of choice. You can choose to believe in Him or not.
Do you have that hypothesis because you were taught about the God in the first place, though?
Probably.
Is it possible that you were taught something that's not true, and you're believing in it because you were taught it?
That's possible. I won't deny that.
I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, I won't deny that. I'm not saying it is true or it ain't, but I think what we've learned in the years growing up, what you're introduced to, and what you continue to. Okay, so you grew up for 18 years with your parents, most people do, and then after you leave, if you carry that with you, and you use that knowledge that you gain and continue on, then your belief stays with you.
But if you start seeing anything you see validates whatever you were taught.
Now,
Right,
I've seen things in life through my upbringing that I know that I believe that only God could have done that.
Are you arriving at that conclusion, however, because you were actually taught that the God exists in the first place?
Probably, yes. And I can only say yes is because that's my upbringing and that's my education. That's what I've learned after I left home.
Okay. So let me summarize where I think we are, because I don't want to hold you up too long. And I have ice water if you want to help yourself.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay.
We got some in the
Do you want one yet?
No, we got water in the
Okay.
truck. We always keep a cooler there.
Let me summarize where I think we're at, and we can wrap it up if you want, or keep going.
Okay.
You have a belief that a God exists. You recognize that you recognize that it's probably because you were taught it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have other beliefs that you think are true, or philosophies of life because you hold the God belief, yet you still recognize that if you hadn't been taught those things, your outlooks might be actually different.
Absolutely.
How could a person figure out that their belief is really true? A belief that they may have been taught as a kid that's not true. What's the best way to figure out that this belief that you have is really true?
Well, the scriptures tell you, faith is part of your belief, and you have to just have the faith. There's no way to prove it that God exists. So,
are you using faith to be sure that God exists?
To be sure, no. I use faith as part of my belief. I can't be sure. I don't think no one on earth can be sure. But the faith that you in your beliefs and the faith that you were taught allows you to draw to those conclusions, and you just believe in it. It's just like something as simple as the weather. I believe it's hot today. Yeah. How do I believe that? Well, I feel it. So your faith is what you feel in your heart and how you live your life, and things that dictate your life. Like I say, brought up from early on, and continuing on into going to university and studying the Bible and different things. It just ingrains your belief. Now, if someone, there's don't get me wrong, it doesn't make you wrong if you don't have that belief. I will never challenge no one else to believe what I believe, because God gives us that freedom to choose. But
is that another hypothesis that you have because you were raised to believe all this stuff?
No, that's just what God
This is your general outlook?
Yeah, He gives you freedom.
Well, because like sometimes I think someone can say they're a Christian, a Buddhist, or whatever, but then I look at how they're living their life and like, oh, I think you missed the point here.
Yes. In fact, some of the nicest people that I've met don't even believe in any gods.
Oh, that's perfectly fine.
Like my cousin, the one I always tell you about, Tim on Facebook, lives in Houston. Incredibly intelligent. I tell you, he's like the alcoholic Sheldon on Big Bang. Misses some social cues, but super intelligent, complete atheist. But he'll have discussions with people on Facebook. I mean, really, he's never disrespectful. He's a great human being. But he'll even say, "Oh, that's cute. I would love to see." It's kind of like fairies, right? And they're like, "No, it's not like fairies, Tim." But
that's fascinating.
He equates.
We're talking about God, but
it's all the same to him.
But those beliefs,
thank you,
is really in today's society is. If you brought up that way, you won't have some of the problems that's going on in America today and in other countries. Like you say, I can get along with an atheist. I'm not going to beat him down. I'm not going to burn him to the stake. I'll have an intelligent conversation. You might even be an atheist. I don't know. I can have an intelligent conversation with you. and that'll be it. And I can be your friend.
Mhm.
But that doesn't make you any different than me. Just like that's my wife. A lot of people might not agree to that. That's who she is, and I love her to death. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how you was brought up. It just matters how you treat your fellow man.
Yeah.
If you treat me right, I'm gonna exactly treat you right. If you treat me bad, well, I might treat you bad. That's just me.
With specific regards to the claim that a God exists, James, and your certainty that it exists because you were raised it, and you mentioned faith, are you of the position that faith is useful for being certain that your God exists, also because you were raised to believe that faith is?
Yes, I do. I believe faith.
This all seems to be going back to you being raised that way.
Is how you was how it was introduced to me.
If
Yes.
it's possible that this belief is not true, and you're believing in it because you were raised that way, why would you hold the belief?
Because I think that the way life you carry yourself and the things that happen in your lifetime and the things you do, I think in my beliefs, I think it was because someone's looking after me, someone's guiding me. My conscience, my faith, my scriptures or whatever, something's guiding me to do the right things, to treat my fellow man correctly, when I can. I'm not nobody perfect for by sake, because I got some badness in me, and I have, even though I had those beliefs. But for the most part, I'll believe until someone can prove it to me differently. I'm gonna hold that to that belief until I die, I guess.
Interesting. Interesting. There's nothing that would change your mind, even the discovery that you might be believing something that's not true because you were taught it?
No, that wouldn't change my mind.
Wow.
Because I think it's just so far in me. And like I say, I'm not here talking to you because I'm this great guy. I'm here because we're having an intelligent conversation, and we can have differences.
Yeah.
If you don't agree. But,
that's what I like about this approach, is that
Yeah.
it's not so contentious. Because
No.
typically when people talk about these sensitive subjects, they get really irate about it.
Well, it doesn't have to be contentious.
Okay.
Differences don't have to be contentious. People make them contentious.
Mm.
Differences. Difference in you, difference in me, difference in my wife. It doesn't have to be contentious. But people make them contentious for their own beliefs.
Yeah.
Some people might not believe that I should be sitting here talking to you about this conversation, But, that people make things in their own mind. You talking about contention. I tell my wife all the time, I say, when I get pulled, a lot of things going on with cops and shooting people and different things. I tell my wife, when I get pulled over, my number one job is to get home at the end of the day. I'm not going to cause no contention for that officer. I'm not going to cause no problems for me. I'm going to do it. So therefore, just to round this out and close it out,
Sure.
people can have differences. I got differences from my wife. I got differences from you. Don't know what they are yet, but I'm sure there's some things different.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be contentious. It really don't.
Yeah.
You just gotta want to care for your fellow man. I see her come up here. I saw you here. Didn't know what you was doing. I just was kind of curious. I saw you when I entered, and saw you when I came out.
I saw you both come in too.
So I said, man, let me see what he's up to. Maybe he got something good to say. I don't know. But my wife, she tells me all the time, people like talking to me. I don't know why. And they like.
You are a pretty affable kind of guy, I have to say.
People like talking to me, and old ladies like touching me.
Oh my goodness.
On this trail?
No, anymore.
No,
It doesn't
just
matter.
Okay.
HEB, the church.
If they're
That's
70
interesting.
or above, they'll say something and then they go like this.
They're all touchy-feely.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is because there's a lady on the trail. I haven't seen her in a while. I hope she's okay. Old lady, and every time she walks by, it's just hands all over me. She's just touching me all everywhere. But she's the sweetest lady.
Yeah. No,
Can I ask you one more question?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You mentioned that you have this belief, you recognize that you were taught it, it might not be true, but you're going to hold it, and there's nothing that's going to change your mind.
I don't foresee anything.
Okay. Do you think that that's a wise outlook for people in general, to be so certain that what they were taught is true and be unwilling to change it?
Well, it goes back to your personal beliefs or your personal strengths, I guess. I'm not saying it'll never change. I say I'm not changing yet. But if I see something or something tells me different or something,
life-altering or something.
I mean,
What if you?
something dramatic would have to change my mind about
Yeah.
how I feel now.
Well, I wonder if this would be dramatic enough. Let's say somebody else walked by and they were a Hindu, and they pray to Vishnu and they sacrifice whatever. I don't, they do all sorts of chants and stuff. I'm sure we would agree they have a right to believe that. If that person was believing in something that is not true, would you want them to have a way to figure it out?
No, because like I say, I told you earlier, I got a good buddy that's Jehovah's Witness, and I've talked to him, and we've studied scriptures and we've done things, but there's nothing that's going to change my mind to make me go that way.
Let's say that this guy,
But-
excuse me,
Wait.
let's say that this guy elaborates and says, not only do I pray to Vishnu, but it's my deeply held belief. I actually know my God exists, and one of the things he tells me is that interracial relationships are wrong. And we should stone people who do that. Now, I don't think people, I'm using the extreme, I'm touching you. Sorry. He's a touchable guy.
Yeah,
I know that's an extreme position, but I'm trying
I
to,
understand what you're
I'm trying to pick something to really shine a light on your position that seems like you're saying is that I'm okay with people believing things that are not true.
To answer your question, he would have to do it directly to me.
You would wait until he's harming you personally.
Not harming me. I mean, till I can see that he's harming me or others in his belief.
Let's say he said he's actually done this 3 times.
Oh man, I'd have a serious problem with him.
Now that was an
in
extreme.
his belief,
This was an extreme example.
Yeah, I understand.
But in light of this discussion, we're kind of scouting out your belief here a little bit. Do you think it's wise generally for people to be fast on a belief and unwilling to change their position for any reason whatsoever?
Not for any reason. If someone's gonna,
Sorry, that was a clumsy question.
if someone's gonna change their belief, it might be something very significant that would cause them to make a change. Like the example you gave. I believe he has a right to light his incense or do whatever he wants to do. I don't think he has a right to stone nobody, And,
Draw some lines. We gotta draw some lines somewhere,
and
right?
definitely, ain't gonna be no stoning here. I stone back. So that's just me. But
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. Though.
Have you ever thought about what it would take to change your mind?
No, but you're gonna have me thinking about it. I'm sure by the end of the day.
But see, I also think it's growth. Just like if you look, in whatever the religion is, with Christianity, with little kids, God is kind of like Santa Claus. They pray for things they want. It's
well, No
not. And
Santa
then
Claus
as
in
you,
my neighborhood,
No.
so.
well, stop. And then as you grow up, though, so your beliefs do change and they alter as you grow. So.
But Anthony.
I guess fundamentally what I'm interested in is, are
Would
the
they go
beliefs?
away completely?
Well, no, but are the beliefs that we're holding really true? Are they real?
If it could be explained, you wouldn't need faith.
You're using faith to
Yeah.
be certain your belief is real.
Yes. If it could be explained, there wouldn't be no need for faith.
If that guy who believes in Vishnu and has strong feelings on interracial
If he has that
relationships,
faith, yeah.
and he's using faith to be sure his God exists, would he be justified in that position?
No. Not if he's going to stone people. He can believe what he wants to believe. I give everybody that freedom. But not freedom to attack someone or violently hurt somebody.
Yet he thinks faith is a reliable way to conclude that these things are true.
He's probably wrong. Just like maybe you think I'm wrong, but that's okay.
I try to really keep my views
I
out of it,
understand.
honestly.
I understand.
Honestly.
Hey, Anthony.
Hey, I held you up far
Hey,
too
man, I'm
long.
gonna stretch a little bit.
Go stretch,
and
man.
then we gotta go.
All right, nice talking to
Hey,
you.
good talk to you.
Thank you. And let me give you a card before you go.
Man, you need to write that thesis, man. You need to get that PhD.
I need to write that thesis. That's right. I should. I've actually been thinking about it. I've been doing this for about 5 years. Here's my card. It's always enjoyable when people reach out to me later, and sometimes I get emails from people.
Your name's not on here.
No, well, it's on my email there.
Oh,
did I put it there?
No.
Oh, my name's Anthony. Did I not give you my name?
I got your name.
Okay.
Yeah,
just
Google you. Or
email
something.
me. Do Anthony Street Epistemology.
Okay.
Yeah. Where was I going with that? I was talking about something.
I'll get your thesis that you enjoy talking to people.
I do, yeah.
Even years later. They call it.
That's all right. I'm sorry. Yes, I got a message from a guy a year and a half after I talked to him. Kind of similar conversation. Faith was a topic.
Yeah.
And
It is.
it usually comes down to faith.
Yeah.
And I've literally had conversations with people who believe in Vishnu, and people who believe in Allah. And I've talked to a guy who thinks that there's a ghost squeaking his cabinet door because he's using faith. And it always makes me wonder, can faith be reliable to arrive at truths, to arrive at conclusions, if anyone can use it for any belief?
I hear what you're saying.
Well, see, that's what I look at. In most religions, to me, there's only a few key points that I would call truths, like the universal truths.
Doing everything.
And you can find those in almost any religion. And then there's all this extra stuff that I don't think necessarily came from a higher being or a universal anything. It's just the stuff man
but you got me thinking though, Anthony. I might have to email you. James
Nothing will make me happier.
tx.rr.com.
Okay.
That don't put it in.
I was going to say, I'll be watching for it. Yeah, hit me up. I'd really like to find out if there's a better way to conclude that this God exists other than the reasons that you gave me. Do you find that the reasons that you've explained to me very great, very well?
That's a good question for my buddy. That's a good question for him.
Why?
Because he's so strong in his beliefs. You know, my buddy Gilbert, he's so strong in his belief. I'm asking, hey, Gilbert, how sure are you? How, and I'm going to see what his question, I think his answer is going to be similar to what I just gave you, but I'm going to ask him.
I think it would be really cool is if you were to learn about street epistemology, watch a couple of my videos, and then engage with your friend.
You got videos on that website?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you email me, I'll send you the link to my channel.
Okay.
And you can check them out.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Anthony,
really
you,
enjoyed it. Lovely talk. Thank you. Bye.
Got me thinking now. Good thing I don't have to go to work today. I'll be thinking about this all day.
What a lovely talk with James and his wife Barbara. There were a couple points in the conversation where we got a little bit off track. That seems to be kind of typical, but I steered it back to how he could be sure that his belief is true. He had such a laissez-faire response to admitting that he likely believes in all of this stuff because he was taught it, and he acknowledged that not everything that you're taught is true. And he seemed to miss it, which is why I circled back to it at least 3 times. And then his wife came up and joined the conversation, which only added to my delight. I was able to leverage the interracial relationship and use an extreme example of the person who's concluding that a completely different God exists because he was raised that way and because he's using faith. Even though James seems like a very affable person, it did seem like stubbornness was an underlying theme of this discussion. I'll have to look at the video again, but it seemed like at a couple of key moments, his wife Barbara glanced up at him. And it did make me wonder at the time if that is a character trait that she notices in her husband. It's kind of funny because they were talking about how people like to touch James, and I really wasn't planning on it, but I reached out and touched his shoulder. I don't know why I did that. I do think it's helpful if it's socially acceptable to reach out and touch a person like that, but you have to make sure that you've built some rapport first. All in all, a great talk, very friendly guy. I've been out here all morning and I ran out of cards in my pocket, which I guess is a good problem to have. I had to go to my bag and dig some more out. The fact that he wants to learn more about my content is exciting, and nothing makes me happier than someone who has enjoyed the talk, wants to look into it further, and possibly even use it with a friend of theirs. How does it get better than that?